Hi, how's it going? So, today we are going to be taking a quick little look at something that I honestly didn't think I would care about at all. And after looking into it, I still don't care about it very much at all. And, you can think that's a negative reflection on myself. Fair enough. This might, be important. And I don't disrespect anybody who is covering it. I think it's relevant, like whatever. But long story short, our boy, Boogie2988, the OG of, I guess, sketch comedy of some sort. You know what I mean? He's the guy who had the Francis character, basically like in the vein of like an McJuggernuggets or like old, rage, fake kind of rage videos. He would basically play, you know, a guy who plays World of Warcraft all day type character, which probably wasn't that far removed from like his actual reality, but he definitely was like playing a nerdy character. You know what I mean? He was leaning into it back then. Over the years, this guy's been doing YouTube for, I think, over 15 years. Over the years, he has, grown to become kind of a commentator, kind of a comfort type streamer, and also, talker, yapper, whatever you would say. And, he basically built up a community of people who trusted him and like to listen to his opinions and think like he has something worth, saying, basically. Usually he talks about gaming, whatever. He dabbles in more serious topics every now and then. But basically, over and over the years, a lot of lore, I guess you could say, has been unraveled surrounding Boogie. And there's tons and tons of videos that you can watch that will give you a much more specific, kind of recounting of all the many controversies and, little tidbits that are at play in Boogie's, ecosystem, his life, whatever you would say. Basically, he's a lolcow, okay? He's a lolcow. Over the years, and you see this a lot with, kind of legacy creators who, as they start to kind of wane in popularity, they will kind of do a little bit of like desperate kind of ploys or tricks. They'll employ, little tactics to grasp at that, relevance for as long as they can to hold on to it. And in a way, you could view that as rational, right? Like they depend on this, it's their livelihood. They also enjoy it, assumingly, more or less. And so when the numbers start waning and you're not particularly talented, right? And your old bits, like your Francis bit, is kind of not funny anymore, it's viewed more as cringe, it's not getting the views at the very least. Well, what are you going to do? And in the case of Boogie, it seems like the answer to that question, what are you going to do, is he's going to implode, kind of, in a way. He's going to, basically just start doing dumb things for attention. Now, there's obviously an argument to be made. No. He's not doing dumb things for attention. He's just dumb, and he gets attention for that. But at the end of the day, I think that analysis is slightly naive, okay? I want you to, if you're a Lolcow consumer, a consumer of Lolcow content, whatever you would say, you are aware of this. Like, you don't disagree with what I'm about to say, but maybe you might have a reflex of like, whoa. There's a mutual relationship going on, okay? Always, between the presenter and, the listener, whatever, the audience member. And so it's, okay, from a content creator perspective, a lot of content creators are, I think, a little bit naive in the sense that they think that they are in control of their audience, right? When in reality, a lot of the time, the audience is absolutely influencing the creator. You know what I mean? Of course, the algorithm is also contributing to this, right? It's like, the algorithm, its whole job is literally just to, if you upload a video, the algorithm's job is to say, who can we serve this to and will they eat it? That's basically the algorithm's job. And so they'll try and peg you down into a little corner. And in the case basically of lolcows, and, we will be getting into the specifics of Boogie's current situation, which is wild. It's like level 100 of lolcow, desolation. But in this, specific case, and in a lot of cases, basically, what I'm getting at is that the relationship between, the lolcow and the viewer of the lolcow, it's common for the viewer of the lolcow to just think like, oh, I'm just laughing at this idiot. You know what I mean? Like, this idiot doesn't have any influence over my... In reality, as a viewer, even if you don't respect the person that you're watching, consuming the content of, that person that you don't respect, who you still choose to spend time watching, they do have a little bit of influence over you, okay? And in the case of Boogie, what I've kind of seen is that, you know, in the case of a lot of Lolcows, is that they will totally try and farm the, you know, current audience that they have, which is often people shitting on them, right? The people who are the most, you know, engaged in their communities a lot of the time is literally their haters, right? And so if you're an audience member of this type of content, just be aware that, like, yeah, Boogie's he might be a up to you. It's like he's whatever, an idiot. Yes, yes, yes. You can interpret all these things, but at the end of the day, he's also to an extent playing you when you know, choose to, you know, tune into his latest charade. Now, this current drama is not, you know, that, in my mind, that lighthearted. It's not like that funny, goofy, oh, stupid dummy, oh my goodness, fat guy, whatever, that is like, you know, more typical, you know, lower level Lolcow shit. It's fucking weird. I'll be straight up. It's weird. Okay, for context, I've been aware that Boogie has, you know, a lot of dirt on him for about 5 or 6 years now. There was a lot of calls when I made, you know, my H3H3 video. There's a lot of calls for people, basically they wanted me to make a massive exposed video for Boogie. There was like a full Reddit kind of page, Salmon Toki, dedicated to documenting all of his strange behavior. And I kind of was like, yeah, this isn't really, like, this guy's just a miskeen. I don't know how to put it, but like, it's like, I don't feel like I would gain very much personally by, you know, attacking this guy. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't gain anything from, you know, learning from his mistakes. Christopher Tom ended up basically making the video that I'm describing, and, you know, it was a solid video, I remember. But basically what I'm getting at is that now it's been like 5-6 years, and I've just been slowly more and more, you know, loosely becoming aware of Boogie without really paying that much attention. And yes, bro, the guy is what would you say, a serial liar, right? He's a bit of a what's it called, a flake, right? He's slightly unstable, I guess you could say, but not that unstable. It's hard to describe. Like, he is, from what I get at least, he is a conscious manipulator, if this makes any sense. And that's all fun and games, I guess, when, you know, Frank Hassel is hassling him and Boogie goes and, you know, defends his property by firing a warning shot. And apparently that caused legal problems for Boogie. Yeah, it's all fun and games when you're basically, you know, getting the dub over the Lolcow. But in recent times, and this has happened, you know, many times throughout Boogie's career, where he will basically kind of try to farm more or less sympathy from his audience. And look, I've looked into Boogie's past on at least a surface level, and I believe that he had a fucked up childhood, okay? I don't think anybody really doubts that, right? Like, usually these kinds of pathological behaviors, not just the eating thing, right? But like the pathological lying, the like reflexive manipulation, this type of shit. This is a lot of the time learned behavior, you know what I mean? And so when Boogie talks about, you know, his childhood being fucked up, maybe he's embellishing it, maybe he's not, but like, I kind of believe it, right? Basically, we get to, you know, today. And today, the public is much less sympathetic to our boy Boogie, okay? The old Francis bit, him being an OG YouTuber, that shit's worn off. No one cares, really, okay, in a grand scheme. And he's gone from being kind of a lovable goofball to a fucking, I mean, criminal, but at the same time, like a untrustworthy piece of shit, basically, is the interpretation. And that really got cemented when he partook in a crypto scam, okay? He had an interview with CoffeeZilla that kind of blew my mind listening to it. Like, he basically, it was like this is a guy who is f***ing, I don't even know what's going on with him. Like, in my mind, it's like, is this guy, like, what's the word? Is he, like, having a downward spiral really bad? Or is he literally just, like, fine, but he wants to be a part of all this, you know, weird, strange drama or whatever, right? Like, the crypto scam that he did was so blatant, so stupid, that it's like, bro, you knew this would blow up in your face, right? And CoffeeZilla, you know, made it blow up in his face, right? He I'm very thankful in a way to CoffeeZilla because he has established himself as kind of a watchdog, you know, a guy that you have to contend with if you try and fuck with people on this platform. He's really self-policing, and I aspire to do something, in a similar vein, but he's really successfully doing it, in my opinion. People are fearful, bro. I've talked to finance guys. They understand, like, if I get popped by CoffeeZilla, that's not good. That raises my GTA stars drastically. And so Boogie got popped by CoffeeZilla. Obviously it's a pretty simple case, right? Boogie accepts a interview with CoffeeZilla. I guess he seems to really put himself in situations that are just like not ideal for him. Like, he has very low self-preservation seemingly, which kind of leads me to think like he really doesn't try and protect himself that much, And basically what came out of that is, Boogie basically semi-exploited his very young girlfriend in order to attempt to raise funds kind of fraudulently through some kind of crypto, arrangement. And what Boogie basically said in his defense when he was talking to CoffeeZilla, he took a very, contrite, but also like sympathetic angle, which was basically he broke down and he was like, I don't know if you know this, but I have cancer. I have to pay for my medical bills. I have medical bills, basically. And so this is probably true. Let's just be clear. Boogie probably has medical bills, realistically, okay? But does he have cancer? That's the big controversy, okay? And it is looking like, based on what I have seen, that he doesn't have a formal cancer diagnosis. This is the entire crux of this whole drama, is like, okay, he mentioned on Twitter that he has cancer, okay? Does he actually have a diagnosed, cancer from a doctor, right? And through, I guess you could say, some pretty, I don't know, like relatively surface level investigation, our boy Destiny looked into, this claim when it was brought to him by Turkey Tom, and he was just like, dude, I smell bullshit. And I won't cap, when it comes to these kinds of situations, these kinds of people, honestly, like, people who are desperate for attention, Destiny's pretty fucking, he's a veteran of dealing with these kinds of people, bro. So he's, he was honest with what he smelt, and it wasn't good. And so, he popped Boogie into a call, and almost instantly, Boogie kind of betrays the fact that, it's not quite a formal diagnosis. And the details just keep getting muddier and muddier and grosser. And basically everybody in the call at this point, we got Keemstar, we got Turkey Tom, we got Destiny. Everybody in the call is just telling him, yo, Boogie, just show us the paperwork and you're good. They know they will likely not see any paperwork. Boogie takes the angle of like, look, guys, over the years, I have revealed everything to the public, and it has never not blown up in my face. He basically takes the victim angle. And so that's why, on principle, I am not going to share this with you guys today. Okay? This cancer diagnosis, this paperwork, this, the portal or whatever it is, the website that says like, oh yeah, bro, you got cancer, my boy. That for me, that's Discord. Every time I open up Discord, that's pretty much what I see. But anyway, then a fucking very, very long kind of, I guess you could say just a guy from OG, commentary in a way, Medicare, whatever. He basically came into the call and he was like, okay, I actually had or have cancer, okay? And I know how we can make it so that you can show me this diagnosis right now. I have the portal. I've gone through all of these fucking loops and hoops and paid the bills and dealt with all this shit, my friend Boogie. And just because I'm a good guy, I'm going to help you out. We're going to find, the part of this website where it says you have cancer, buddy. And you're going to show us a screenshot. And so Boogie walks it through with him. And then when he gets to the, part where he's supposed to, start share the screenshot, he's like, no. And so at the end of the day, is Boogie just being like a 200 IQ in a weird way, a really weird way? where it's like he builds up all this anticipation, all this attention, all this hype, and then he's like, gotcha, bitch, I got fucking cancer. That's like not an invasive or like apparently that scary cancer. But in reality, I think that it's much more likely the case that he fibbed. He fibbed, and he did not quite expect it to, reach these fever pitches. Now, I'm not saying he fibbed. I don't know for certain. God knows the kind of inner workings that go on in this fellow's mind, all right? But in my mind, this circumstantial evidence does make me believe that it is absolutely possible. I think that Destiny's nose was on point, okay? Let's just put it like that. And the reason for that is that Boogie basically goes on to reveal in this conversation, it's like, bro, they're basically asking, like, a doctor told you have cancer, right, Boogie? And he was like, yeah. You know what I mean? He basically says he realizes he kind of has to say yes. But again, over the call, it's kind of revealed, like, there's only a chance he'll have cancer. He has to do, like, more blood work, all this shit. Long story short, when at first you practice to deceive, oh boy, what a tangled web you weave, all right? He was getting tripped up in his own fucking lies, okay? Is what seemed to be the case. That, or he's just been doing a lot of recreational drugs, or his mental state has been deteriorating drastically, because it seemed like just a general amount of incoherence. Like, it seemed like he didn't know what the fuck was going on, right? And that can happen, if your mental state is degrading. But given his, past, I guess you could say strange discretions, whatever you would say, indiscretions, I should say, he probably embellished massively something that did occur, which was like he went to the doctor, he probably got his blood work done, and then the doctor was like, okay, we might have to, take a closer look at this because it's possible you might have cancer. And then Boogie probably took that as like, I got cancer, right? In my mind, that's probably what went down. That, or, the doctor told Boogie, yes, you have this, kind of blood, disease or condition. And this condition could, end up causing cancer potentially, but you don't need to worry about it that much. And then Boogie was like, I got cancer that is just not that bad. I got not bad cancer. I'm gay. I'm sorry. Anyway, but the point is at this point, right? You've listened to me describe all of this. There's not a resolution at the moment, but in my head, I'm imagining probably not going to be any kind of, satisfying resolution. And that is usually the case with Lolcows in my mind. It's like, what is the satisfying resolution to any Lolcow's case? Well, for me, it's like, well, I guess they improve their life, whatever. They actually, evolve past, I guess, being a Lolcow. They actually develop an audience that cares and is trying to build them up, and they care and are trying to build up themselves, not trying to take advantage of their audience, right? Because like I was saying, Boogie understands at this point that, like, to an extent, he plays into the whole, manipulation shit, right? Like, he kind of plays into the fact that he can work around the new audience he's kind of harvested, which is very dangerous, right? Like, this is why when you see guys like fucking, like, yeah, Sneeko, I guess Fuentes, whatever, but definitely Leafy, biggest example, okay? When you see guys like this, they get banned on YouTube, which Boogie's not banned, but he is dwindling, you know what I mean? But when people get banned on YouTube and they go to Rumble, and they don't have, like, that rigid of a kind of, I guess you could say, principle framework, right? They're a little fluid, and they're a little bit programmed to do whatever the fuck will get them attention and views and money and clout. Well, what are you going to do on a platform like Rumble? What are you going to do when so much of your audience is starting to come in and you're getting so much attention for being a fuck up? You're going to lean into it because that's how you're fucking programmed to do what the fucking algorithm or the viewers or the whatever's the numbers are telling you. You know what I mean? And again, with Leafy, it's like, absolutely, Leafy on Rumble was way fucking encouraged by his audience to be like the most fucking poisonous person, I view it truly In the case of getting banned, it's like you've been kicked into the abyss. And the souls you meet in the abyss, guess what? They're not trying to get you out of the abyss. They're trying to drag you down deeper with them, okay? And the only way to get, people to come down and look at you when you're down in the abyss is to scream at the top of your fucking lungs. And a Lolcow, a guy like Boogie, is in a pretty similar situation. He has a platform. Some might argue he shouldn't have a platform. Whatever. Given scams, whatever, lies, okay. He has a platform. Yeah, okay. He abuses it to an extent. He hears when he does something fucking stupid or kind of messed up, whatever, he fucking registers. All eyes are on me, baby. Feels like I'm young again. Feels like I'm fucking making those Francis videos, you know what I mean? I mean, the whole concept of LowcowLive, right? Like the podcast that Keemstar, Tom, Nick D, these guys kind of coordinate. It's a super fucking funny idea. Absolutely. But like, you are feeding these guys fucking addiction for attention. Like, totally. Like, if there's any positive outcomes of these kinds of, podcasts, that's great. And I've heard that there might be, right? But in reality, people don't tune into these podcasts hoping necessarily that the fucking Lolcow gets better. Some might, but most don't, right? It's the fucking juice. It's the fucking spectacle. Get a guy who's a complete fuck up to smash heads with another complete fuck up. And bro, it's like a beautiful chemistry little experiment. You know what I mean? God knows the kind of fucking magic that's going to spawn. And in this case, it does seem like almost everybody who's covering this situation, they're not really like even taking that like a moral high ground. They're just like, dude, look at this. Look at what this fucking guy did. You know what I mean? And so this leads me to kind of the conclusion of what I want to say, what I want to get at here, because it might seem to you like I'm just yapping. But basically, I'm trying to provide a subtle fucking warning, okay, to you. If you're watching a video about, Boogie2988, be careful, okay? Be careful. I'm not saying it's bad that you're consuming this content, okay? I am only saying that it can be bad in the sense that why the fuck would you watch, nonstop watch content about people you hate or dislike or think are fuck ups or don't respect, right? In general, for me, and this is a personal thing, whatever, but for me, I really do like watching people that I respect, right? I consume negative criticism, whatever you'd say, content as well, all right? But over the years, like, bro, I've been here. I'm just saying. Over the years, I've tried to kind of angle the content I consume toward like shit that basically I actually am learning from, and it's not just like, dude, look at this fuck up. I can't believe it. You know what I mean? Because that's a real thing. Okay. You can't sit there and tell me that, everyone who watches Lolcow content, that they're not kind of subtly coping with a bit of sadness or lack within their own life, right? I'm not saying you. Absolutely not. Because fuck you, you're an exception, okay? You're going to live your best life. You're going to fucking achieve what you want to achieve. But I am, just trying to bring to the forefront a slight awareness where it's like, make sure that you're actually learning from the people that you are consuming, right? That when you watch them, your life is in some way better. You know what I mean? At least in a decent trajectory. Because, and I have been here, sometimes it feels fucking good to see other people fuck up worse than you. And to look down at them and be like, what a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? It's comforting. It really is. And that resentment that goes into that, because that's kind of what it is. It is a tacit, a very mild form of resentment. Okay, this isn't like you're a piece of shit. I'm not saying that, bro. But that resentment that is channeled into viewing that, it's addictive, bro. It's fucking addictive. It's incredible, bro, the amount of talent and effort and, passion that goes into documenting Lolcow's fuck-ups. And I totally get why, bro. I mean, you could argue I did the same shit with the Sneeko video, right? My cope, though, and I'd like to think it's probably, you know, the better path, is that I actually am trying, like, to firstly target, I guess, the viewers of Sneeko, right? And to smash some, like, better ideas into their head, if that makes any sense. Again, you could say, you know, that's just cope, okay? That's my way of justifying being a piece of shit and channeling my resentment. It is, but I think that awareness, right? That I watch Lolcow content, or, you know, I make videos shitting on people kind of egoically or to channel my hatred so that I don't take it out on others. Yeah. It's like, think about it, right? You can channel your resentment by being a bully and picking on, like, your younger brother, right? Someone who, you know, is probably weaker than you or whatever, right? Now, you can channel your resentment and go to the gym and fucking listen to metal music and lift hard weights, whatever. And that's probably better, more inspiring at least, than beating on your brother, right? And you can channel your resentment by going on your phone and getting fucking angry, or, you know, enjoying someone else fucking up their life, right? That's like a sublimation, okay? This is like a concept that I don't fully understand, but effectively sublimation is like, you take, you know, this energy, this resentment, this, you know, intent, right? And you sublimate it into something, and then it dissipates, it disappears, whatever you would say. In politics, you know, political sublimation, this is like the idea of, like, well, okay, so your dad's, like, pissed off yelling at fucking Fox or something, like, oh my God, whatever, you know, he's like bitching at the TV. And then, you know, he basically takes out his resentment just chilling on the fucking couch. And so he doesn't actually, like, do anything to fucking, like, politically change anything. You know what I mean? That's like sublimation. In my, you know, personal opinion, a lot of the times watching Lolcow content is a sublimation, right? It's kind of a, again, low level, bro. It's not that bad, but it's like a low level of basically, like, channeling your resentment in a way where it's like, okay, my life's not that bad. My life's not that fucking bad. And to be clear, by the way, this is not me targeting specifically, you know, the commentary community, because there is a lot of Lolcow content in the commentary community. And the reason for that, by the way, is because it's, guess what? Easy. It really kind of is easy. Okay. Not everybody does it in an easy way. People do it with interesting, you know, ideas, whatever. But, like, generally, Lolcow content is easier, and there's a very easy, simple reason for that. And it's that nobody's going to fucking defend Lolcows. Barely their fucking audience. Not YouTube. YouTube doesn't give a fuck. If you have no relative power, if you're, like, a random, you can almost do anything. Almost. As long as it's not, like, crazy. Insane. And guess what? They're not going to fucking respond in a coherent way because, you know, they're a Lolcow, right? They feed off the negative attention. You think they're going to have a coherent response? That's three massive things, bro. Because that, for me, you know, when I'm going to criticize somebody, that is stuff that every commentator considers, whether they are aware of it or not, okay? What will their audience say? What will YouTube allow me to say? What is the person I'm criticizing going to say? None of those things you need to worry about with Lolcow content, okay? Guess what, though? This is where I was bringing that, okay? So commentary, yes, there is Lolcow content. I'm not saying that it is worse. I'm just saying that it is something that, you know, you should be aware of. You're kind of watching, like, you know, popcorn, like, whatever. It's kind of, like, not that crazy. I should say it's not, like, that, what's the word? Challenging. It's not that challenging. But, okay, and there's a big fucking fat but, juicy. The thing that I will stipulate is that, you know, the commentary community is often, you know, slated as being like, oh, these fucking bigots, piece of shit, garbage, you know. Not really, but, like, yeah, you know, like, they're kind of outcasted as, like, the hateful people, right? Guess what? Mainstream people have their fucking Lolcows. They absolutely do. They're just not necessarily as low level, right? Like powerless, whatever you would say. Like Boogie has way less power than Andrew Tate, right? But like to a lot of people online, Andrew Tate is kind of a lolcow. It's like if you are preaching to the choir, which a lot of fucking creators do, right? And especially in the liberal spaces on fucking YouTube that, often are front and center on the homepage. It's like, is this really challenging? Not really. We're kind of just watching like this fucking sexist dude, right? And dunking on him, right? That in a sense is kind of a Lolcow-esque type content, right? Again, though, the difference is that like if you're talking about Andrew Tate specifically, like yes, this guy is not as like low level as Boogie, right? And there might be more to learn because on the surface level, Andrew Tate successful on paper, right? So there is interesting things to analyze. Whereas with Boogie, there's certainly interesting things to analyze, but like at the fundamental level, it's like, dude, look at this fucking loser. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that's the big thing, right? It's like if you're watching whatever, man, if you're watching like whatever, Chad, whomever else basically makes kind of like dunking on, the right or men type content. This is kind of a very similar, lane that you are in. It's like I'm being reinforced. I'm not really being challenged. It's just like, dude, look at this fucking misogynist piece of shit. This fucking loser, The most I would say that I think embodied this was probably a guy more like Nick is Not Green. Again, it's not necessarily lolcow, right? But it's like you are channeling your resentment by watching this content to an extent, right? Like you're watching this, and a lot of the times, yeah, you're outraged a little bit, it might invigorate you, but at the end of the day, you're kind of like having fun just looking down on and laughing at someone who might even be above you in that case, right? So it is a bit different. Yeah, I'm kind of a hypocrite probably. I don't really know. But, I will say basically that I... throughout my entire life, right? So this is like a very, personal psychological thing. I have been very, hyper aware of dynamics, you could say, I guess, where it's like if you are beating on someone or shitting on someone who is like well below you, or whatever in a relative sense, in like a power sense, like if you're bullying someone who's weaker than you, right? That's just fucking not that interesting to me, to put it lightly. In certain cases, that just pisses me off. In fact, I don't like seeing, that kind of power abused, right? I'm of the general sentiment that you typically, there's always exceptions, I guess, but you typically do not want to exert, hateful, whatever, power over people who you perceive to be weaker than yourself. Right? Because that is 100%. That's not just you being resentful. That's you acting on your resentment, which is cruel. That's cruelty. When you act in a manner to disempower someone beyond what is of like any logical gain to you, beyond what is like necessary or fun for pleasure, which you got to keep in mind, resentment is pleasurable, right? Oh, you can disagree with me, whatever. Be aware. Resentment is pleasurable. And anybody who denies that, they might be lost in the sauce, okay? So again, it's all about the awareness. You can act with resentment, just be aware of it, right? Don't convince yourself you're the fucking moral superior. Though you might be, but, have that second thought, right? And, yeah, this is basically what I'm getting at is like, I prefer people who punch up, right? If they're really going to channel the resentment, fucking punch up, right? So, yeah, okay. A lot of content creators, they do typically punch up. They punch up so high that it's like, you don't really need to worry about the person responding because they're so much larger than you. I'm a bit of a fucking weirdo in the sense that I always assume that the person's going to respond to me, right? And that does change the way that I operate a little bit, right? Because it makes me have to reinforce what I'm saying and actually fucking believe it. Whereas there is a lot of content creators where it's like, yeah, I kind of just yapped. I don't mean it that deep, but my audience will eat it up and his audience isn't even going to watch it. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that kind of content. But yeah, this turned into a bit of a rant, But that's pretty much everything that I kind of wanted to, state about this Boogie situation, I guess, because it's kind of sad, but it's also funny. Like, dude, I totally get it. Like, dude, it's funny seeing him flounder or whatever you'd say. Like, what is it? What's the word? Flounder? No, I forget what the word is. Bruh. Flail. That's what it is. Flail. But yeah, just, try and be aware, if you're consuming the content. Make sure you're improving your own life too, okay? I want you to fucking succeed, my friend. And a part of that is having cool-ass drip. So I've been wearing this around. We officially have the hoodieless Escape the Matrix sweater. And they look clean as hell and feel really good. These are like the perfect amount of like warmth. Not too hot, not too cold, not too thin at least. This is like a very, very solid everyday sweater. So go to gokamerch.com. Sign up at the email list, okay? Because we have the little robot fellas. They're incoming. And yeah, thank you for watching. And please buy my merch. Okay, you little grenoblin. Look at this stuff, bro. Look at this. Look how fucking clean this looks. Nobody is going to blink twice at you unless they're like, dude, nice drip. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who's seen it is like, yo, bro, that's actually kind of clean. We also have this hat, the Puppet Master, bad faith hat. Wow, whatever. So, yeah. Dude, I should have done the video like this. Look like a complete fucking douchebag. But that's pretty much all I got for you. Thank you for listening. And do what you got to do, okay? Good luck.